Hi, welcome to today's video. Today I'll be showing you how to automate uh, some of the reports that you've been working on and generating on the workplace. Today we shall be looking at a data set um, that deals with employee information, and we are going to just create some basic visuals and use the visualization to generate reports. And I'll be showing you how to use Visual Basic or macros to automate the generation of the reports with a click of a button. So without wasting time, let's open. So you're going to see a report that looks like this. This will be the kind of thing we'll generate. You see a button over here saying export as PDF. You're going to learn how to do these kind of things. When you click on this, it generates a report that also opens in PDF for you to send to whoever is requesting for it. All right, so the data set we'll be working with today is a series of CSV files, different CSV files. We are going to use Power Query to combine these files and do a little bit of transformation in Power Query, and then load this to be able to do our data analysis and visualization. All right, so to do this, you have to load the data into Power Query. The way to do that is to go to Data, you click on Get Data, and this time we are going to come to File and select from Folder. And then we are going to look for that folder where we are keeping this data. It's in Short Course Design. It's somewhere in here. Yep, New Excel data, HR data. Okay, great. As you can see, this is metadata on all the various files that we want to load. Over here, we want to combine all of them in what? Transform. We don't want to load at this point. We need to do some data cleaning before we load into Excel. So we combine and transform, and then our Power Query opens up. Okay, so we click OK, we are good. Great. So you all know why we have to use Power Query for data cleaning by now. You obviously don't want to do data cleaning in Excel. You're going to enlarge the file. Power Query is more powerful, more advanced, functionalities that you can use to clean your data in a second. So looking at our data, Power Query has combined all of those CSV files, and so we have several rows that have been joined together for us to utilize. Going through the data, the first thing you always do as a data analyst is to skim through the data and look at what is useful, what is not useful, missing data. You correct things here and there before you load to begin visualization and data analysis. So over here, we realize that the source name just shows the year and the file names really. We may not be needing this, so we just click on that and come over here, click on Remove Columns. We have date, which we're definitely going to need. We have employee ID. We have gender, age, ethnic group. I'm not so sure we're going to be needing this, so we remove that column as well. Then over here, we have full-time and part-time, yeah? So this is not rating in full, so we have PT and FT. If we wanted to work on that, we can go to transform, click on replace values. We can find PT, and we want to replace that with what? Part-time. Yep. And Power Query does that for us. Again, we replace FT, yeah, to full-time. Okay. Awesome. Okay, we are good. We find that there are some columns over here that are quite empty and may not be useful to us. So we're gonna go back, we're gonna click on remove columns. Same for new high. We're gonna remove columns as well. We come to the BU region, and over here, of course, this data set we're using is a demo from um, a different part of the world. So we're going to just change this to contextualize it a little bit, just to make it more appealing when we begin to visualize. So over here, what I'm going to do is to go back to transform and replace values. Here again, we do north. We replace it with Ghana. We say what northern region. So we replace it northern. We also have northern west. Yeah, so we replace that as well. No, northern west. We're gonna replace that with west. We have west of it. We'll need it as well. The age group is going to be very important. Tenure days, tenure months. For our purposes today, we will not be needing this. Bad highs. Okay, so this is fine. I think we can leave it as it is now. Everything else looks okay. The data formats have been automatically identified by Power Query. This is a date. This is a numerical values. These are string values. So I think we're fine. Okay, so we move on into Excel. We close and then load, and then our data set should load. Okay, so here we go. I think now we have our data set, and from what we have about 7,491 rows of data that we're going to be working with. Doing that in Excel will not be very productive. It's always good to use Power Query to do your cleaning. It's very fast, very powerful. All right, so now we have this. What do we call employee information variable names? Awesome. And we want to do some little analysis on the begin by inserting a pivot table. And we do want to on a new sheet so that we have a clean space to work. Great. All right, so here we go. So right now we want to visualize, let's say, the number of employees that we have per year. So we're going to put date in the rows over here. I usually do not like to see my thing in this format. I usually prefer to have it in a tabular form this way. So I'm going to just change that quickly. Okay, great. And then we're trying to employee ID. We'll come to values. And very quickly, you see that Excel has put this in SAM. By default, this is what happens when you begin to add, values to this segment of the pivot table. However, we're going to change this. We just have to right click on that. We say summarize by count, and we should have this showing over here. Okay, great. So we're going to create a very simple, chart using this information. To create a chart, you usually just click in this and go to insert, and then insert a type of chart that you want to construct. But I usually don't do this for very good reasons. I don't do this. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to put years here. I'll put employee count, and then I'll put something else here later on. I will show you why. Okay, so we have this, all right? And what I'm going to do is to just bring in whatever we have here. And I'm going to drag this down. But the numbers have to do them one after the other. Dragging them down won't work. Okay, great. So I have the table replicated here. The reason I had to do this is because I'm going to need a helping column to be able to do the kind of visualization that I want. So let's begin by inserting a chart over here. We'll quickly insert this chart, all right? And to make this beautiful and easy to read, I'm going to take the grid lines away. And then over here, I'm going to take these grid lines as well. Okay, great. So this is what we have for now, yeah? I want to be able to highlight, the month with the highest number of employee count, so that when later we slice by region or by any other variable, Excel is able to automatically visualize which year has the highest employee count. Is that okay? All right. But to do that, I cannot just simply go and color this maybe orange and then hope that things will stay the same way if I change it later on. Okay. The way to do this is to make it dynamic. Okay. The way to do this is to make it dynamic. So to make it dynamic, it means we need a helping column. Okay. And in this helping column, what I'm going to put here is what I'm going to call, let me title this the max column. Okay. Great. The max column. And what I'm simply trying to do here is to say that I want the maximum value from this column returned in this column so that I can add it as an additional column in my chart. Okay, so you will understand what I'm trying to say. So I'm going to say if is equals to max, the max of this, and I'm going to lock that in there so that Excel doesn't shift it. Then it should return the max value. It should return the max of this. Otherwise, it should return 0. It should return nothing. Yeah. Let me close this so that Excel can recognize this. Alright, great. So it gives me nothing, but if I scroll down, you find that Excel is able to identify 2018 as where the max value is, right? Okay. So I'm just going to stretch this selection all over here so that I can include the value from that additional column. And then that gives me two different bars for 2018, yeah? But this is not what I want. What I want is such that I want a situation where whenever a max value is determined across these years, it changes to this color, orange. So we need to combine these two to make sure that that function is able to work the way we want. So the way to do that will be to double click on the orange. And you see this, you're going to use series overlap. You extend this to 100%, and then that is it. Okay, so now if I change 2016 to the max, automatically Excel is able to identify that and select 2016 and change it to orange. Okay, great. So let's get back to our original data. So now we have this visualization. Remove the years. We're going to bring now the region. Yeah, and we want to remember we want to visualize this also by whether people are full-time or part-time. Okay, so we have this to visualize, and we're just going to click in here, and we're going to insert we want a bar chart. I'm going to insert this chart right here. Okay, let's close this for now so we have enough space. I'm just going to put this right here. Just gonna put this right here. We need to do some cleanup. Okay, I'm seeing a blank here. We shouldn't be having that. So we can go to filter and pick only selected items. We need to remove all of these field buttons. We don't really need them right now. We need to keep our work very tidy. Yeah, great. So here we go. There's so much gap in between the bars. As far as the regions are concerned, we need to do some cleanup there. We want to reduce this gap, make these things a bit bigger, the bars a little bit bigger. Okay, so now we have this. We just need to make sure we add our data labels to all of this. You have the values, and then for these as well, add the data labels. We'll do a little bit of formatting. Make sure these are looking the way we want. Okay, so we want those colors to match over there. Yeah, so we have orange, and then we have blue, and then we make them bold and a little bigger. Okay, great. Now that background is counterproductive, really. So let's say we just give it a light gray, and so here we go. Okay, awesome. So we are not done, so let's just take it easy. We're going to add a few more things here. Yeah, over here, yes, so the gap width, we want to increase that a little bit more. So we need to format data series and reduce the gap width a little bit. And then we want to make sure we add our data labels. Great. So here we go. Awesome. Right. So it's all coming out great. It's all coming out great. This is gonna be white. Let's make this white, and we can leave the others as this. So there are a whole lot of things we can do, but for now, we'll leave it as it is. Okay, great. All right, so we can decide that we want to slice this data. We want to slice this data by gender and by age, yeah. But if you look in the data, gender is represented by M and F. We want to rename that. We need to rename that. We should have done that during the cleaning. So we want to rename that quickly so that M actually stands for male. We replace all, and F stands for female. We replace all. Great. So then when we refresh the model, we should have all of that coming out very brightly. Okay, I think I will reposition this somewhere inside just so that we don't lose it with the coloring. Okay, great. So let's add gender as a slicer. Okay, we're gonna put that right here. We're gonna remove the header. We don't need that. We need to also hide. Okay, so we hide items with no data. Female, male. Okay, so we can do descending just so we have male, female, as we are all used to pronouncing. And then yeah, again we change the column to 2. I just like to have all of it here. Makes it easier. And then you might want to do a little bit of formatting, changing colors here and there, just to suit your taste. Alright. And then we can also slice by Okay, the age groups. Yes, we can indeed slice by the age groups. Let's change this to three columns also. Remove this here. We have a little bit of formatting. We increase this a little bit. Um, Again, we remove the header, which we don't need. And then we should be good. Awesome. So we position this right here. Let's do the formatting such that good. Just want to maintain a data for now. Okay, great. So I'm going to select this as well. And just maintain that. Okay. So I mean, there's a lot you can do here, but we don't have the time. We want to focus more on the programming bit of this. Okay, so you have this report, and let's move into how to automate the generation of these reports. So what we are basically saying is that sometimes your boss wants information on a certain group. Next time they want a specific information, it just keeps changing, and each time you're supposed to generate this on your dashboard and print out a PDF and send. You don't have time to constantly come in here, make a lot of changes, and go to file, save as, and all of that. You need to automate things such that you have slices and buttons to press, and once you have that, you are able to click a button to generate this as PDF as quickly as possible. Mind you, this is a very basic dashboard, but there are more complex things you might do, which will definitely require your ability to do this very quickly. Okay, so let me change all of this to Word, and let me just no, let me just change those. Format the data labels and put all of them inside and make all of them white. I think I like this. Yeah, this is better. Okay, great. So to be able to automate this, we are going to go into Excel Visual Basic. All right, and the way to do that is to go to Developer, this tab over here. If you don't have this on your Excel, you can easily do that by going to Options. You go to File, you go to Options, you click on Customize Ribbon. You come to the right part, the right segment here. You should find Developer over here. You select it and you click OK. Once you do that, this tab should open on your Excel. When you have these tags, you are going to have to open Visual Basic. Okay. You are going to have to open Visual Basic. And this is the code. The code you see here is what we are going to use to generate the PDFs, as I demonstrated in the beginning. To do that, you need to click on Insert and click on Module. All right. So we have a new module, and I'm going to show you how to go about this. We want to call our module very simply PDF, okay? And so the way to begin is to type sub and then PDF, open and close bracket. Once you do that, Excel, the module recognizes that you want to type in code that it can interpret. Now, what is the first thing we need to do? Okay. And you are not going to have to memorize all of this code. You need to understand the steps. So what do we need to do now that we are in the function area? We need to do two things. Okay, well, first we need to define the variables that Excel needs to recognize. Okay, we need to define the variables. Then when we define the variables, then we define the values or the locations where Excel can find values um, that represent those variables. Okay, so the way to do that I'm going to show you is you type dim. Let's say that in our report we want it to always generate a reporting date and include a report name. Okay, um, which will all form part of the full name that the document will bear when it is going to whoever needs to use it. So we will define a variable, let's say called reporting date. There cannot be space, you know that, so you need underscore when there are multiple words. So reporting date, and we need to define it what? What kind of variable is this? It's a date, yeah? So we need to define it as date. Okay, then we do for the report name, we need a variable that we can call report name, and we need to define it as what? As string, because it's going to be text. We need to also define the path, okay, where what will be the file path. What it means is where will the file be saved. Okay, when you click and say export as PDF, which folder will receive that file? That is what we mean by what? File path. We need to define that as well. So here we'll define that variable as what? File path. Okay, now it will be a string value also. Then we need to define the file name, the final name of the file, which will be attached to the PDF. Okay, so we have dim, and then we have what? File name. Okay, that will also be a string value variable. So we have done the first part of our job, which is to define the variables we need to be able to automate this. What next do we need to do? Now we need to call out the location, all right, of the various variables that we are defining here. Okay, where should Excel look to find the information? For instance, the reporting date, okay, and the name that it should have. So let's get back to our Excel. We're going to create something here. Let's say reporting date. And okay, hold on. All right, and we want it to always be the day that the report is being generated here. So we say today, all right, so that will automatically give us the date. Now we need to create a list of all the various, all the possible names that we can give to our report. Okay, so let's say when you show only this and this, you want to call it all right, so let's call this graph employee count. Let's call this employee count, total employee count. All right, and we keep it here, and then we call this one employee type by region. So let's say that these are just some of the reports you'll be generating, right? Let's say your dashboard has several tiles and reports covering so many things, okay? And you need to be sending different reports by defining the print area. One of the things you have to do is to define the various kind of reports that you'll be generating. So let's say one of the reports will be called total count of employees. So let's say you have all these different names that you want to use in naming the various reports you generate. Then down here we're gonna have what? Report name over here, and here we need to create a list. So we go to data, we go to our data validation, come to list, and we select this and create that list of the various types of reports. Is that okay? All right. So let's hide that. Great. So we have this, and awesome. So this is just in the corner somewhere, okay, and we have put it in there, and we'll be using it over here. So let's get back in here. Don't be overwhelmed. Don't try to memorize these functions. Okay, understand the steps because you will be able to define all kinds of things by yourself as you practice more. Okay, so the reporting date. Now we are trying to tell Excel it is looking for what? The variable reporting date. Where will it find a value? So it will be equal to what? The range, and that range is going to be defined. You put you put quotation marks there, and then you go and then what? Look for the cell that contains the reporting date information. In this case, it is what? V4. Okay. So what do we do here? We put what? V4. You close it, and we are good. Okay. So don't be overwhelmed if this is a little bit too much for you, especially if you are new to programming in Excel, macros and Visual Basic and all this. Don't be overwhelmed. Just understand the steps, and as you practice more, you'll be able to do a lot with these steps. Now, when we go to the next variable, which is report name, where should Excel go? The same process. Okay, the same process. Now we go back to Excel. We look in the, we see that what? It's in what? V7. V7. Okay. We close that and we enter. What next do we need to identify? What next do we need to identify? We need to identify the file path. As I mentioned, in this case, I am going to want to save all my documents and my reports in HR data. Okay, so if I come here, I can even copy this ahead of time just to have the file path, and then I can paste it when it is time. This is where I want all the data. You can select any folder you want. File path just means where you want the files to go when Excel generates the report. So we come back here, and the next thing to do is what? Define the variable file path. Where should we look? Where should we look? So again, here it's not going to be a range, it's going to be an object path. Okay, at the tail end, always bring the backward slash, okay, just to close it meaningfully, otherwise it won't work. Then you bring the quotation marks, and then we go to the next one. Now file name, where do we want it to look? How should Excel be able to put a file name together? The file name is going to be a combination of the report name that we offer. Okay, the report name we have here combined with the date is what we have said should give us our file name. So the way to do that is that we have to define that for Excel. So we say report name, and we bring some space at least. The way to do space in this function is to bring underscore. So this is a little different from how we would normally do that in an Excel, in a cell that is receiving a formula. So after this, we bring another end, and then we say what? Format. Here we are trying to define the date. Okay, it's going to be report name and date, but the date needs to be defined in a certain format. Okay, so I will bring format first, then I'll type my expression, which is what the name of our variable reporting date. Okay, bring a comma. Now Excel is even giving you guidance, right? That you bring First day of the week as VB, blah blah blah. Now, let me show you an easy way to do that. Just once you type comma, give space and type this date function to make things really easy for you. Okay? So that the date can come in this. You can change the format. If you don't want the date to come with the day, the month, the year, you can change it just as we change it in Excel usually. Okay. Then you can close this. Okay. Then you do end and you need to put what you want at the tail end, which is the file format. So that'll be what .pdf. We close that. So that'll be the end of that function. Okay. So these two things are very basic to what we are trying to do. By now, I'm sure some people are feeling, well, this is a bit too much. No, it's not. If you're able to do this, you save yourself hours of work. You automate everything, and with a click of a button, everything generates. Now, the next thing we need to do is that we need to tell Excel that it should always print in PDF. Okay, the file format should always be PDF. And then we want to define the print area to tell Excel that we want it to print only the area where our reports are. We don't want it to print the whole page. Otherwise, it will print things we don't need. And then we define that final file name that should be printed, and then we are done. But just before I show you that one thing I also like to do is usually to set my orientation to landscape. Okay, because in my experience, when you print in portrait, sometimes you tend to lose some critical information because of the print area, and sometimes you need to scale down so much that what is printed becomes a little bit small in portrait form. So I like to set it to landscape just to make it a bit easy. And the way to do that will be to active sheet. You type active sheet, then you type what? Page setup. Okay. Then you do orientation. So page setup dot orientation. Okay. Then I will type Excel landscape. Excel landscape, and this is just to help you understand. I'm giving you a note here that set page orientation to landscape. Okay, great. Now, once that is done, let's do what I was speaking about earlier. Again, we do active sheet. We are telling Excel to export. To export as fixed format, and the type should always be what? Don't forget a semicolon is very important when you are coding in at this stage where we are telling Excel the final thing to do. It should be equal to what? Excel type PDF. Okay, another PDF. Then we will tell it to ignore print areas. This is what will tell Excel that it shouldn't print the whole form. It should focus on the area that we want it to print. So I'll show you in a minute how to set the print area and we'll be fine. Okay, the final thing then will be file name again. And here, our file name is equal to what? The file path. What we have for the file path and file name, and that's it. So let's test this and see if it works the way we want. Okay, because when I click, you don't see the document come. The document obviously comes into the folder. I'm going to add another code just to make sure that the PDF can open once we are done. So I'll say open after publish. Okay, semicolon equal what? This will be equal to true. Okay, so this time this should be able to open when we are done. Okay, great. So this is what it has given us. We need to define the print area. Otherwise, we will be getting the wrong thing. Okay. So this is what we're gonna do. We go to our Excel. We go to page layout. We click on. We select the area that we want printed, and then we say what? Set print area. Okay. Now you see this line drawn over here, and this line shows that the print is going to terminate here. So we need to reduce the scale a little bit more just to make sure that everything fits the way we want it. Exactly. Okay. So I'm going to close this now, and then we're going to run our code again. And this time it comes out just the way we want. Is that okay? All right. Now, the key thing is not for us to keep pressing buttons and coming into Visual Basic every now and then. The key thing is that we want to be able to do this automatically inside Excel once we are done, right? We click a button and then we get our report generated. The way to do that will be to create a button and connect it to the macro that we have programmed. Okay. So again, we go to developer, we go to insert, then we click on what? The button from control. Okay. So let's create a nice button here. And we have to link this button to the second macro that we created. I already had a macro in the earlier on inside his workbook, so the one that I showed to you. So we're going to use the second one. Okay, we're going to use the second one. All right, this is what we've programmed. So we will change the name over here and we'll call it let's call it export to PDF. Okay. It's a nice cute little button that we have here now. I just want to make sure that we have something very beautiful. So we have export to PDF. We've created this button. This just like you see in various applications. So now we are done. Okay. So that is what it is. We assign the macro. We go to 2. We say okay. And once we do that, we should be able to what? Export to PDF with a click of a button. So this time around, let's say you decide to change. If you go into the folder where I'm saving my data, it's currently saved as well. Total count of employees. Yeah. So let me delete this one. So I'm going to change this to employees by region, and you will notice that the report name changes at the top here. Do you see it? Employees by region. So all of this is coded. Whatever date is here, whatever report name we decide to select, and we export, we are able to generate with that name because it's all coded and it's all going to come automatically. All right, so I hope this has been helpful. I hope this has been helpful for you, and I wish you all the very best. This is what you get when you join our Sunday coaching sessions, one-on-one coaching sessions, where I take you through things like this, one-on-one, explain the theory behind everything, and we go through practical sessions like this to create all manner of things in Excel, in Power BI, in all kinds of data tools. Alternatively, you can also register for any of our courses. at Wisconsin International University College, or very soon at Accra Business School. Um, just get in touch and let's arrange something. But on Sundays mostly, we have one-on-one coaching sessions, and you can benefit from this type of one-on-one instructions that can help you to really improve productivity in data analytics. All right, so all the very best. See you in the next video.